Hello friends, welcome to Bootstrap video tutorials series. In this video tutorial, I would like to discuss Bootstrap width and height related classes. In Bootstrap, we have W-25 class. It sets the width of an element to 25% of its parent width. W-50 class sets width of an element to 50% of its parent width. W-75 class sets the width of an element to 75% of its parent width. W-100 class sets width of an element to 100% of its parent width. Let's have a demo and understand. I minimize the word. I double click on my first Bootstrap site folder to open it. Inside my first Bootstrap site folder, we have created a default.html page. I right click on it, say open with the notepad. You can see that default.html page is open inside the notepad. It has the basic HTML5 document structure code. Title is set to Bootstrap demo. And we have linked necessary CSS and JavaScript files. Here in the body section, I am going to create a div, opening div and closing div. To this div, I am going to apply the border. I say here style equal to border of 1px solid black semicolon. And then I add a space here, ampersand NBSP semicolon. We know that NBSP stands for non-breakable space. It adds a space inside the div here. File, save, minimize the notepad. I right click on default.html page, say open with the Google Chrome. You can see that default.html page is open inside the Chrome. Title is set to Bootstrap demo. And you can see that the div is displayed. It has the border of 1px solid black. Instead of the space, I am going to add one more div inside it. So I delete this. I say here opening div and closing div. Inside this, I add the content some text. And then I apply the background color of bg-primary. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that one more div is added. It has the background color of blue because of that bg-primary class. And it is taking the entire available width of its parent, right? I go back here. Here I am going to add W-25. So what this W-25 class does? It sets the width of an element to 25% of its parent width. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the inner div has 25% width of its parent width, right? I go back here. I am going to copy this line of code and paste down. Here I say W-50 and then I use the background color secondary. We know that secondary bg-secondary adds the background color of gray. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that one more div is displayed. It has the width of 50% of its parent width and it has the background color gray. I go back here. I'm going to copy this line of code and paste down. Here I say W-75. We know that W-75 class sets the width of an element to 75% of its parent width. And here I am going to use bg-success class. We know that this class adds the background color of green. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that one more div is added. It has the width of 75% of its parent width and the background color is set to green. I go back here. I'm going to copy this line of code and paste down. Here I'm going to say W-100 and then I say bg-info. bg-info sets the background color to pale blue color and W-100 class sets the width of an element to 100% of its parent width. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the width is set to 100%. If you want to set some other width, then you can use the CSS width property, guys. I go back here. I'm going to copy this line of code and paste down. Here I'm going to say bg-warning. It sets the background color to yellow. I remove this width class. Here I'm going to use the CSS width property and I say 65%. So what it does? It sets the width of an element to 65% of its parent width. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that one more div is created. it has 65% of the width of its parent width, guys. Next we have height related classes. We have h-25 class. It sets the height of an element to 25% of its parent height. h-50 class sets the height of an element to 50% of its parent height. h-75 class sets the height of an element to 75% of its parent height. h-100 class sets the height of an element to 100% of its parent height. Let's see that. I go back here. I'm going to delete this entire code. Delete, file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that nothing is displayed. I go back here. Again, I'm going to add the div, opening div tag and closing div tag. To this div, I'm going to apply the border of 1px solid black, and I also set the height of 100 pixels semicolon. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the div is created. It has 100 pixels height, and you can also see that it has 1px solid black border. I go back here. I'm going to add a div. I say here opening div and closing div, and then I add content some text. To this div, I'm going to apply the background color by using the Bootstrap bg-primary class. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the div is created. I'm going to set the height of this div to 25% of its parent height. So what I have to do, guys? I have to use h-25 class. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. Okay, already I think it is 25% height it has. So there is no change you can find at present. Then what I do here, I'm going to use the br tag. I copy this code from here and paste down. Of course, we will be creating one more div. It is going to have height of 100 pixels. And here I say h-50. So this div is going to have 50% of its parent height. That means it is going to have 50 pixels height, right? Because the parent has 100 pixels height. And I'm going to change the color to secondary. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that this inner div has 50% height of its parent height. You can see that, right? I go back here. I'm going to copy this code and paste down. Here I'm going to say h-75. So this div is going to have 75% height of its parent height. Here I'm going to say success background color. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that this div, the inner div, has 75% height of its parent height, right? I go back here. I'm going to copy this code and paste down. Here I'm going to say h-100, and then here I say bg-info. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the inner div has now 100% height of its parent height. It is completely filled. You can see that, right? So that is how you can set the height of an element to 25%, 50%, 75% and 100% relative to its parent height. If you want to set to some other height, then what you can do is you can take help of CSS height property. I'm going to copy this code and paste down. I copy the BR and add 2 times here down. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. You should see one more div created, and you can see that the inner div has 100% height. I go back here. I'm going to delete this h-100 class. I use the CSS style property, and then I say here height of 65%, and I change the color to bg-warning. We know that bg-warning class sets the background color to yellow, and height colon 65% sets the height of this div to 65% of its parent height. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the height is reduced to 65%. I hope you guys have clearly understood how to use Bootstrap width and height related classes, and how do you set the width and height relative to the parent element. I think for this video tutorial, this much is enough, friends. I suggest you people to watch this video again and again understand everything clearly, try the code yourself, experiment with more examples. In the upcoming video tutorials, we are going to discuss more about Bootstrap. For more benefits and be up to date, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, comment and share these videos with others so that everyone will get benefited. Keep learning, keep coding, keep sharing. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial.